think of something.
Not to put you in the spot, Dr. Cohen, but wouldn't now be a really good time to put your black belt skills to use?
Oh, yeah, about that. This may not be the best time to tell you.
Hey, shut up down there.
Don't have to tell me twice.
Tommy enters from the hallway.
Thanks, I can feel it working already.
Oh, what a punt return for the Patriots! He just leapt right over the tackler. He's going to score!
What?
The stranger turns to see the play.
I'll be your hero! Ah!
Eugene gives his battle cry and jumps the burglar from behind in a reverse bear hug, pinning his arm so he doesn't have the ability to fire his gun. Bill pulls Dr. Cohen in front of him to protect himself.
What's he talking about?
Yeah, the Cowboys have the ball.
Will you boys help him?
Quincy and Tommy join the fray. They wrestle the stranger to the ground. Quincy gets the gun and points it at the burglar.
Okay, I give up. I give up.
Yeah, you aren't so tough, are you, now that the glove's on the other hand?
It's the shoe is on the other foot! You moron!
Yeah, well, you may think I'm pretty dumb, but my little friend here thinks I'm pretty smart.
Okay, Quincy, why don't you take this guy to the front desk and have them call the police? I'll give everyone their phones and wallets back.
Quincy pulls the stranger towards the hallway.
You heard the lady. It's time to meet the fuzz. Take the first walk. Anything you say can and will be used against you.
Wait a minute.
What is it?
This guy still owes me 75 cents.
Come on.
Quincy and the stranger exit to the hallway while Chris starts handing back the phones and wallets.
Okay, everyone, here you go. Is everyone okay?
Well, that was certainly a story you'll tell your kid one day.
Assuming I can get my heart back inside my chest.
Rebecca enters from the medical area.
Bill, where the hell have you been?
Oh, Rebecca, it was horrible. We were being held up by a burglar.
Oh, for God's sake, if you wanted to watch the game, just say so. You don't have to make up something so ridiculous.
No, it's true. He was holding it. He was holding us up at gunpoint because he was trying to get drugs to sell, and he offered Tommy a job. And I said I would make a movie about him, and Mrs. Bloom couldn't help because he's Presbyterian. and Eugene got the gun away from him so Quincy could take him downstairs and call the police.
How many times do I have to tell you not to compound one lie with another that's even more preposterous? Just enjoy the game. Eugene took the gun away. My 5-year-old niece could have come up with something more believable.
Well, no, Mrs. Radner, everything Mr. Goldstein is telling you is true. Eugene saved all of us by coming up with a plan that allowed him and Tommy and Quincy to get the gun away. He was a hero.
Really? Well, I just saw that something needed to be done and took action. A lot of credit goes to Tommy and Quincy for jumping in when they did.
Given the extraordinary circumstances, I think it's safe to say we were all heroic on our own way.
That's true, Mrs. Radner. Your husband risked his life when he pulled me in front of him. But if you put your hands on me again, you might not be so lucky.
Bill goes to the TV while Dr. Cohen goes to Eugene and pulls him aside.
But I do understand why Mrs. Radner was surprised. I wouldn't have pegged you for a hero either. After all, you're unemployed, you live with your mom, your name is Eugene. I guess it's true you can't judge a book by its cover.
Now, what book are you reading? I am a bank vice president and I own my own condo. You did get my name right though, so.
Well, I just thought since you're single and you're always taking your mom to the hospital and staying the whole time.
What, I should let my elderly mother wait here alone? Huh?
No, of course not. Mrs. Bloom, is there anything that I can get you to calm your nerves?
Oh, no, Dr. Cohen. There's nothing that bully could do to make me more nervous than I already am. As soon as George is out of surgery, I'll be fine.
Okay, well then I will go and get an update for you. And Mrs. Bloom, you should be very proud of Eugene. He's a real mensch.
Dr. Cohen exits to the medical area.
What's a mensch?
A mensch is a person.
That doesn't sound like much of a compliment.
Tommy, you can't just listen to what she said. You have to listen to how she said it.
You learn quickly, Chris.
Rebecca, I'm sorry I didn't jump in and help with the burglar.
Honey, it's okay. I know the man I married, and you did better than I would have expected. I'm proud that you kept from soiling your pants. ice chips before the fourth quarter starts?
Sure.
Bill gets up and starts towards the hallway as Quincy enters.
The real police came and took the burglar away. But look what they forgot to take.
Ah!
Quincy brandishes the gun and Bill hits the ground screaming.
What's he worried about?
Quincy turns to Chris and Tommy, who also hit the ground screaming.
Quincy, are you crazy?
Put that gun away! I thought you'd be happy for me. After 18 years in the job, I finally
Oh
had
my
a
God.
gun. Don't worry, I know how to handle it.
Dr. Cohen enters from the medical area. Quincy turns and the gun gets pointed at her. She then hits the ground, screaming, and crawls back to the medical area.
Mrs. Bloom, your husband is doing okay.
Oh man, I feel like a real police officer now that I have a weapon.
Officer, I have to insist that you hand over your weapon.
Why?
Quincy, don't turn around. Don't turn around. Quincy, how about I take the gun and I'll put it in my bag for now, and then I'll take it to the police station on my way home from work. Now, doesn't that sound like a good idea?
But and I won't have it anymore.
Remember, Quincy, the gun was only yours to borrow and play with. Now that you've had your turn, you need to return it.
Can't I just take my rounds one time?
Quincy.
No. Okay. I'm gonna do a quick sweep and then come back for the rest of the game.
Quincy gives the gun to Chris and exits to the hallway.
Now I know how scared you all must have felt.
No, this was worse. I wasn't afraid the burglar would shoot us accidentally. Let me go get you those ice chips.
If you came back with something stronger, I wouldn't object.
Bill exits to the hallway.
That burglar really made me hold it in longer than I'm used to. Nice to know I can still do it, but my insides feel like Niagara Falls.
Florence exits to the hallway.
So, Chris, can I assume you and Tommy met here?
Yeah, that's right, Mrs. Radner. Tommy was already working here when I started, and he was assigned to show me the ropes.
Looks like he showed you more than just the ropes.
Yeah, of course, that was many years ago. I know all the ropes now. And I just keep wondering what the next step is.
We need to commit.
Really?
Absolutely. If you don't commit, you start to get predictable. I know you agree with me on that.
I do.
Even now, it's not too late.
Tommy, what are you trying to say?
Do I really need to spell it out for you?
It would mean the world to me if you did, and don't worry that there's others around.
Fine. If we don't commit to running the damn ball, the Cowboys are just going to sit back with extra men in coverage.
What?
I mean, it seems pretty clear this has been going on for a while. Are you even paying attention?
Apparently not.
Well, it's time to start learning.
Don't worry, Tommy, I will.
Bill enters from the hallway with ice chips and brings it to Rebecca.
Here's your ice chips, honey. How's the game going?
Better for some than for others. And the Patriots are still losing.
Quincy enters from the hallway.
Done the rounds and I'm back for good. Hey, Chris, I ran into your friend Consuela. She said she started the nursing training program in September. Said you talked her into it.
That's wonderful. Just wish I could talk Tommy into it, too. Mrs. Radner, don't you think nursing is a good career?
Absolutely. I played one.
Oh, I meant for a man.
I know what you meant.
You played a male nurse?
Yeah. Early in my career, I was on a soap opera playing a lesbian mechanic. She comes to learn that the twin brother that she thought had died in utero had actually been kidnapped and raised in Montauk. I played both roles.
Wow, that's pretty daring stuff.
Hey, it paid the bills. And I even got a Daytime Emmy nomination for it. Although, to this day, I'm not sure for which role.
You know, Eugene, those could be characters in your mother's next story. At least it would take the heat off of you.
Florence enters from the hallway, but Eugene doesn't see her.
That's a good point, but I'm sure my father wouldn't support her in that either.
Your father wouldn't support me in what?
It's nothing, Mom. We were just joking about a story you might write.
But you said he wouldn't support me in that either, which means you think he hasn't supported me before. When hasn't your father supported me?
Do we have to talk about this right here?
You were already talking about this here. It seems to me that I should get to join in on the conversation.
Mrs. Bloom, I think that what Eugene means is
Shush,
that...
I think we've seen that Eugene is quite capable of speaking for himself. You think you don't have a good father?
Of course not. He's the best father any kid could have asked for.
Then what? He's not a good husband? He has been faithful to me since the day we met.
I know that. It's just that...
It's just, what?
It's it's no secret that he never supported you in any of your writing. You're very talented, Mom. Your work deserves to be seen by a wider audience than just your family.
Your father never told me not to write.
But he made it impossible for you to pursue it. I mean, Jerry and Michael saw it too.
You think you know everything, but even you don't know everything. As smart as you and your brothers are, you don't know everything.
Then why don't you tell me what I don't know?
We've been through enough in the last few minutes. Let's just drop.
No! All right? You insisted we talk about it, so let's talk about it. I don't know what I don't know, but I'll tell you what I do know. Dad is a terrific father. He's even a good husband. But after all the time that he spent with Jerry and Michael and me, he should have given you some of that leftover time to meet with publishers and pursue your writing. But he took that small amount of time and he kept it all for himself, leaving you with nothing. I love you both, Mom. But Dad gave his students more than he gave you.
That's not true, Eugene.
He went out 3 nights a week for 15 years.
Stop it!
To play poker with his buddies?
Eugene,
Stop it!
Eugene, please.
Who needs to play that much poker?
He was working at McDonald's.
What?
He wasn't playing poker. He was working as a night manager at McDonald's.
Why?
Why? Because you don't have any college loans. That's why.
We'd have been happy to take loans if it meant you'd have time for yourself. You believe that, don't you?
Of course I believe it. And your father knows you'd have done it. But we lived in a very nice neighborhood where most of the men were doctors and lawyers and big businessmen who could afford to have wives not work and still pay for college. Yeah, I was just about to start looking for publishers when he realized he couldn't do all that on a teacher's salary. So when he said he wanted to take a night job, I decided to wait. And then when you boys were done with school, he started to get sick. So I decided to wait some more.
Well, why didn't he ever just tell us? I mean, he must have sensed our frustration at his going out so much.
No, it's not you he didn't want to know, it's the neighbors. That's why he found a McDonald's so far away. It would have killed him if people knew he was the only one on the block that couldn't afford to send his kids to college. Now, you couldn't even afford a house in our neighborhood on a teacher's salary. But back then, you could. But college got so expensive so fast, he couldn't keep up. You need to understand, George and I are first-generation Americans. Our parents had absolutely nothing, so we saw firsthand the difference education can make on your future. George got to go to college on the GI Bill, and he promised me before we even got married that if we had children, it would be our obligation to pay for every penny of their education, the same way we would pay for food and clothing. But back then, our obligation meant his obligation. That's how it was. I know it's not like that anymore, and maybe it shouldn't have been like that back then, but that's how it was. There are a great many things your father and I have argued about, and you may have noticed through the years that I don't have a problem saying what's on my mind, even if someone else doesn't like to hear it. My beautiful squishy tushy. But I would never argue with him when his pride was involved, especially when his reason for doing it made me so proud. Trust me, Eugene, my silence supported the family much more than a royalty check ever could. And what's best for a family is always more important than what's best for one person.
I wish I knew this, Mom. I mean, Jerry and Michael...
I will never hear a word about it, the same way you never heard a word about it. Now, go watch the game. Tommy, how we doing?
Still losing, Mrs. Bloom, but we're playing better.
Good. Can we please talk about something else? I'm really not comfortable being the center of attention?
Mrs. Radner, Mr. Goldstein told us about what attracted him to you, but you never got a chance to tell us what attracted you to him.
Yeah, I could imagine that a woman in your position could have just about anyone she wants.
Well, earlier in my career, I did date a lot of different guys. All types, too. I dated guys that were so brilliant they made your head spin. I dated guys that were so funny I spent half the relationship doubled over in laughter. I dated guys that were unbelievably good looking. I dated one guy who was such a thrill seeker that he spent every day off doing something death-defying like cliff diving or bungee jumping. I dated guys that were absolutely amazing in bed. Oh, sorry, Mrs. Bloom.
Much to be sorry about. What I don't understand is why you didn't marry any of them.
I always felt there was something missing. And as I got older, I realized I wasn't looking for anyone brilliant or someone funny or handsome or a daredevil or great in bed. And then I met you.
A dumb, humorless, ugly, dull guy who's lousy in bed.
And I've loved you ever since.
Wow, I don't quite know what to say.
How about thank you for choosing me?
No, that's not it.
So, Mrs. Radner, what attracted you to Mr. Goldstein?
Quincy, after what you just said, you probably should have noticed that.
Especially not with Mr. Goldstein standing right here.
I know, but I'm afraid she wouldn't tell us otherwise.
It's okay. I'm happy to tell you what attracted me to Bill.
This better be good.
It was your self-confidence. Do you remember what we talked about after that DeVar Torres screw up? You told me about your plans for 1620 Studios, that Boston would be receptive to a movie studio, and that your mission was to make movies with story power, not star power.
Isn't it expensive to build a movie studio?
Very. He invested every penny he made as VP at MGM and took a huge bank loan that would have left him flat broke if he didn't make a go of it. But you knew you would.
You know, I'm a commercial lender. I wish I had a nickel for everyone who was sure they wouldn't fail.
Oh, I'm sure, but this was different. Listening to Bill tell me how he was going to succeed, it was an aphrodisiac. When he asked me out after the bar mitzvah, I just knew a move to Boston was in my future.
So, what's the secret formula?
Start with a great story. And I knew I had one for our first film. It was about a troubled African-American basketball player from New Jersey.
Hey, I saw that. I loved it, even though I didn't recognize any of the actors.
Exactly.
We keep our costs low and take advantage of good word-of-mouth buzz. We've already made a ton of money before the theatrical run ends.
And by the time it hits on demand and DVD, it's all gravy.
I never realized our profits turned you on this much.
It's not the money. I've got plenty of that. It's just that I always start with a script in my hand. You started with nothing but an idea. Every time I think about what you built from the ground up, I just...
Rebecca kisses Bill passionately.
Shouldn't you two wait for the first baby to come out before you start on the next one?
Let's go home. I don't think this baby's coming tonight.
Oh, Gronkowski breaks free. He's at the 25, the 20.
I agree. Could you help me up?
Of course.
Bill begins helping Rebecca up.
Touchdown!
Touchdown!
Bill drops Rebecca and runs over to the TV, as does Eugene, so they can watch the replay while Tommy and Chris kiss.
What a play to bring us within 7.
Bill takes a dinner roll from the tray that Chris had brought up and spikes it like it was a football.
Help me up.
Bill doesn't recognize Rebecca's on the floor.
Mr. Goldstein, that was part of my dinner.
Help me up.
Here, go get more.
Bill pulls a bill from his wallet and hands it to Chris.
Wait, order the lobster.
Bill pulls another bill from his wallet and hands it to Chris, who exits.
Bill, will you get over here and help me up off the floor?
Finally recognizing that Rebecca's on the floor,
Well, Rebecca.
Bill
Okay.
runs over to Rebecca.
Here we go.
Bill starts helping Rebecca up, but she's too much to lift, so he drops her back on the floor.
Oh, sorry, honey. Tommy, Eugene, give me a hand here.
Tommy and Eugene go over to help.
1, 2, 3. That's got it.
Tommy, Eugene, thank you. Bill, I'm gonna kill you. This baby's growing up with no father.
You mean I really am the father?
Ah!
Chris enters from a hallway with a tray of food.
Oh, Chris, I have a hangnail. By any chance, do you have a scissors I could use to clip it off?
Yeah, I think I have one in my pocketbook. I'll go check.
Chris goes behind the desk and pulls out her pocketbook and starts looking inside it.
Chris, honey, shouldn't we talk about this?
Found it.
Chris brings a small scissors over to Rebecca.
What's to talk about? Chris just got me a pair of scissors and I'm going to kill you with it. It's a bit small, but it'll do. With all my crazy crazy, raging hormones, no jury will ever convict me.
Wait a minute, you don't have a hangnail?
Nope, I'm killing my husband.
Tommy, why didn't you stop me?
Don't worry. Handing her the murder weapon doesn't make you an accomplice.
Yeah, yes, it does. Take the scissors away or you're going to jail.
No, I agree with Tommy. I don't know how you could charge Chris with anything.
Mrs. Bloom!
I didn't say I want your wife to kill you. I simply said that if she does, I don't see how anyone can blame Chris.
You're right, Mom. It's not like Chris knew what Mrs. Radner wanted the scissors for.
Neither of one of you was invited to the funeral. Quincy, you're a security guard. Isn't it your job to stop stuff like this?
How? She's got a pair of scissors and you made me hand over my weapon.
I didn't want to get killed then either. Don't you people see a pattern here?
Dr. Cohen enters from the medical area.
Mrs. Bloom,
Later. This is better than the game.
Oh my God, the game.
I just wanted to let you know there's a little more in there than they thought, so it's going to take a bit longer than expected. What's going on?
Dr. Cohen, what's the best way to stab someone to death?
Well, you want to go in through the stomach, lift up and twist. Kills him right away. Wait a minute. Are you going to stab Mr. Goldstein?
Yup.
Do you only want to hurt him, or are you really going to kill him?
Oh, I'm gonna kill him. I finally have a weapon. This is no idle threat.
Good. Make sure you do it exactly the way I told you.
Dr. Cohen!
Well, you need to understand, if you die right away, I'm in the clear. But if you don't, then it's my responsibility to save you. And if I fail to do that, they might fire me.
That's what you're worried about.
You know, we're not all lucky enough to be rich movie studio owners. I'm up to my eyeballs in student debt.
Stop her and I'll pay it off.
Leave me be and I'll double it.
That's quite an offer. Eugene, what do you think?
You really want to sell out your principals for $5,000 or $10,000?
5 or 10. Try slightly north of 100.
Oh,
Yeah.
over 100,000? You know, I think you have no choice but to let her do it.
Eugene!
I mean, it's not that I want you to die, but I mean, that's enough for a down payment on a house.
Could everyone please stop talking so I can get on with this? Okay, now where were we?
You were gonna kill your husband.
Quincy!
Well, she asked. What was I supposed to do? Not tell her where we were?
Could I at least get a blindfold so I don't have to see it?
I think I know where I can find one.
Tommy exits to the medical area.
Any last words?
I-
That's enough. This is for dropping me on my pregnant belly
With all due respect, I'm not used to the extra tonnage.
and for turning me into the only Jewish person in America who dreads going to a Chinese restaurant.
I think you'll stop dreading it when my advice about what to order, she can be very stubborn.
I'll stop dreading it when you're gone.
Tommy enters from the medical area.
Mr. Goldstein, I've got something that should help.
Thank you, Tommy. Put it on me.
I just want to point out for the record that I'm the only one you haven't gotten mad at while Mrs. Radner was trying to kill you.
What, do you want to be in my will?
Well, I'm hoping to earn enough money to buy a ring.
Fine. You're all witnesses. You get $100,000 for being my last friend. The rest goes into a trust for the baby.
Thanks. Now I'll be able to buy one of those heavy-duty Super Bowl rings they give to the players if the Pats come back to win. They always make a few extra and sell them for charity. Here you go, Mr. Goldstein.
Tommy pulls out earplugs and puts them in Bill's ears.
What are you doing? These are earplugs. I can still see you. You're out of my will.
Then I'm going back to the game.
I think I can make you a blindfold.
Chris runs to the tray of food and brings back a black dinner napkin.
What?
This might work.
Chris wraps the napkin around Bill's eyes.
Hey, Mr. Goldstein, how many fingers am I holding up?
What? I can't hear you.
Perfect. Okay, here we go.
Rebecca! Rebecca, don't do this! You hate the sight of blood!
2,
Oh no, that's me.
3.
Rebecca starts to move forward with the scissors, then freezes.
Oh! Oh!
Oh, gross. She peed on the floor.
No, let's not repeat. Her water broke. The baby's coming. Mrs. Radner, the baby is coming.
Oh!
Okay, Quincy, get a hold of Dr. Kornblatt and tell him to get his butt over here. Eugene, you and Mrs. Bloom help Mrs. Radner into the delivery area. Dr. Cohen, you're probably gonna have to do the delivery.
Way to take charge, Nurse Chris. How would you like to observe the delivery?
Really?
Mrs. Radner, is it okay if Chris observes?
Ah!
She says it's okay.
All right, what are we all standing around for? Let's go.
Quincy rushes to the hallway. Chris and Dr. Cohen rush out to the medical area. Eugene and Florence escort Rebecca out to the medical area. Tommy continues to watch the game.
Hello? Hello, anybody? Oh no. Oh my God, I'm dead. Rebecca, how could you go through with it? Wait a minute. I feel myself floating. I must be going to heaven. Oh no, I'm not sure if I'm floating up or down. I could be going to hell.
Dr. Cohen enters from the medical area.
Great. What's he blathering about?
I don't know, I stopped listening once he wrote me out of his will. Besides, the Pats are driving for the tying touchdown.
Mr. Goldstein,
Oh no, am I going to heaven or am I going to hell? Don't keep me in suspense.
your wife is having the baby.
Either St. Peter or Cerberus, show your face and reveal my fate.
Dr. Cohen removes the blindfold.
Ah, Cerberus! You're even more hideously grotesque than the human imagination could possibly conceive.
Mr. Goldstein, we need to go.
Oh, you hound of hell, you must greet the eternally damned with such a vile countenance.
People wonder why I'm still single. Why won't he answer me?
He's, can't hear you because he's still got the earplugs in.
All right.
Dr. Cohen removes the earplugs and speaks directly into Bill's ear.
Mr. Goldstein, you are not dead.
Time for one more play from the two.
I'm not?
No, your wife is having the baby.
The baby? She's having a...
Bill starts to collapse into Dr. Cohen.
Oh, okay, here we go. Just take my hands.
Bill takes Dr. Cohen's hands and she starts leading him towards the medical area.
Touchdown!
Touchdown!
Dr. Cohen raises her hands, the symbol of a touchdown, and drops Bill in the process.
Oh, this is unbelievable.
What a great catch. Oh, I gotta go deliver the baby. You take care of Mr. Goldstein and mop up the mess.
Dr. Cohen exits to the medical area.
Okay, Dr. Cohen, the kick is up. It's good. We're going into overtime.
At this point, there's a brief blackout. As the lights come back up, it's now 12:30 in the morning. Tommy, Quincy, and Chris are watching the game. Eugene and Florence are sitting. Bill is still passed out on the floor.
Can't believe Mrs. Radner kicked me out of the delivery room. Hey, Mrs. Bloom, you sure I can't get you some coffee or some water?
No, thank you, Chris. I just want to know that George is out of surgery so we can go home and go to sleep. I can't remember the last time I was out past midnight. George is usually more considerate and gets sick in the morning.
How long has Bill been passed out?
Since just before the end of regulation.
That's over an hour and a half ago. Who'd have thought a game that was 41-41 in regulation would go to a third overtime period without a score?
You think that we should try to wake him up? Give him some smelling salts or something?
No, with the baby coming, this might be the last sleep he gets for a long time.
Long bomb by the Pats.
He's open.
Ah, he dropped it.
Where am I?
You're at the hospital. You're having a baby.
I'm pregnant?
Oh, Mr. Goldstein, your wife is.
Rebecca, do you think she still wants to kill me?
Oh no, as soon as the baby comes, she'll be all sweetness. I wanted to kill George all 3 times I was pregnant. But after each of the boys came, I just wanted to share every moment with him.
I need to go be with her.
Oh, no! The Patriots are going for a 59-yard game-winning field goal.
What?
That's very risky.
It cost us the game.
I don't understand. Before halftime, you said there was no risk in trying a field goal.
No, that was the last play of the half. If the Patriots missed this, the Cowboys would get the ball near midfield.
From there, they would just only need 2 first downs to get in position for a short field goal. I'm sorry, I raised my voice, Mrs. Bloom. I'm just caught up in the excitement.
Oh, it's okay, Tommy. You got me caught up in the excitement, too.
All right, here we go. Here we go.
Everyone holds hands.
The kick is up.
Everyone sways to the right, then to the left, trying to wheel the ball through the uprights.
It's good!
Tommy and Chris share a long kiss while Bill, Quincy, and Eugene and Florence high-five each other. Tommy breaks the kiss with Chris and starts a conga line.
Patriots win the Super Bowl! Patriots win the Super Bowl! Patriots win the Super Bowl!
Dr. Cohen enters from the medical area and pulls Florence aside. In silence, while the celebration continues, they talk briefly, and Florence collapses onto Dr. Sadie in grief. Eugene sees this and breaks away to comfort his mother. The line continues, but in short order, Chris sees this and breaks away, followed by Eugene, Quincy, Bill, and Tommy together.
Dr. Cohen, how did this happen? What went wrong?
The growths had simply overtaken the organs.
It's nobody's fault, Eugene. We all knew this day was coming. I just didn't know it was coming today. That's why I always wanted the last thing he heard me say was, "I love you."
It was, Mom. I knew he heard it because it was the last thing that he said back to us when they wheeled him away.
Mrs. Bloom, is there anything we can get for you?
Quincy, why don't you take Eugene's keys, bring their car around the front entrance, and then come back up and drive them home?
Yes, Dr. Cohen.
It's not necessary.
Eugene, at times like this, it's very easy for one to lose one's focus, get distracted. A moment is all it takes for an accident to occur. Please trust me.
Oh, I do trust you. Quincy, here are the keys and the parking ticket. I'm on the 3rd level of the parking garage. Oh my gosh, I'm blanking on what row.
Don't worry. I'll use the panic button. Mrs. Bloom, I'll be right back to get you.
Thank you, Quincy.
Quincy exits quickly to the hallway.
Mrs. Bloom, if there's anything I can do to help with the planning, please let me know. There are so many details, so little time to attend to them.
Oh, thank you, Bill, but we planned for this with the funeral home a long time ago. All the details are worked out. We just need to let them know and then inform our family and friends. Eugene can do that on the computer? Pretty quickly, I think.
Sure, I'll send a group email to some key people and I'll follow it up with a Facebook post.
Okay, but don't email your brothers, them you call.
I'll do it as soon as we get home. Mom, what happens now?
What happens now? Oh, my baby boy.
Florence hugs and kisses Eugene.
To get to this age and just now be suffering his first real loss, God has certainly smiled on him. What happens now is that we bury your father and mourn him according to our tradition. Then we keep him in our heart and we move on.
It's going to be so different.
Of course it will be different. And I'm not saying it will be easy. But what would you have us do? Climb into the pine box with him?
Well, Mrs. Bloom, what do you think you will do?
Well, I can imagine I'll have to redefine myself. For over 50 years, I've been Mrs. George Bloom, wife, mother, caretaker. But 2 of those roles don't exist anymore. So what will I do specifically? I don't know. Maybe I'll do something with my writing. Maybe I'll try something I've never done before. The only thing I do know is that I won't live my life in the waiting room any longer.
Quincy enters from the hallway.
I'm back, Mrs. Bloom. Let me help you on with your coat.
Thank you. And thank you, Quincy and Tommy and Chris and Dr. Cohen, for the kindness you've all shown Eugene and me over the last year and a half. I told George all about you, and it meant a great deal to him.
Well, it was our pleasure, ma'am.
Thank you, Chris. And Bill, don't you ever forget how blessed you are to have been given the responsibility of becoming a partner in creation. It's nothing less than a gift from God.
I won't forget, Mrs. Bloom, I promise.
Well, you better not. Or I'll have to turn Dr. Cohen loose on you, and I won't be held responsible for what comes next. Okay, Quincy, let's go home.
Quincy takes Florence's arm and they exit with Eugene following behind them.
Eugene, wait. Give me a second to get my business card in case you need anything.
Oh, okay.
Dr. Cohen exits quickly to the medical area.
Speaking of cards, I'd like to give you mine. I meant what I said about always being on the lookout for good stories. When the time is right, I hope you'll send some of Florence's stories my way. And give me a call.
Be honest. Is it realistic to think that someone my mother's age, who hasn't published anything, could really write a story worth turning into a movie?
Well, I won't know for sure till I read what she's written, but one thing I do know is that the gift of great writing ability isn't bestowed only on those who start young.
Dr. Cohen enters from the medical area.
Here you go, Eugene. I want you to call if you and your mother need anything. Sleeping in particular can be difficult in the immediate aftermath of losing a loved one.
Thank you, I will. Emergency Medicine Chief Resident Dr. Sadie Cohen. Sadie? And you had the nerve to make fun of me, Eugene?
Oh, and people wonder why I'm still single.
You know, I think one of my great-grandmothers was named Sadie.
Mr. Goldstein, why don't you go to the gift shop and surprise your wife with some flowers?
Well, that's a great idea, but isn't the gift shop closed?
Here's the key. Just leave some money on the counter with a note saying what you took.
Bill exits to the hallway.
Now, why don't you two focus deeply on some post-game analysis? I've heard it's fascinating.
Tommy's already deeply focused, right, hon?
Huh?
See? Yeah, he loves all that stuff, but I think I will find it fascinating too.
Eugene, I know that the timing of what I'm about to say couldn't be worse, but I don't know if I'll get another chance. I was just wondering, with some time, of course, if you might want to grab some coffee or something with me.
Oh, are you kidding? I mean, I'd love to see you again, especially outside of this place. You need to wait for a bit, though. I really wouldn't feel comfortable calling you until the Shloshim period of mourning ends.
Oh, of course. I've been waiting my whole life for a hero. I can wait another 30 days. Well, you should go be with your mother. She needs a real hero right now.
Okay.
Eugene exits to the hallway. Dr. Cohen starts back towards the medical area.
You know Dr. Cohen? He's pretty cute.
Well, you know how it is. He'll probably have a fear of commitment. We'll go out a few times. I'll get my hopes up. He'll get cold feet.
I don't know. Something tells me Eugene's got warm feet.
We'll see. I need to go check on Mrs. Radner.